Yeah, everybody, my name is Minu, and today we're going to be talking about Hollyleaf's story, the very first novella in the Warrior series and in the entire Erin Hunter world in general. If you don't know, I seem to really like novellas, so this was really cool. This is not the first time I read it, I got this very recently. I've read it before a long time ago, but I got it as an ebook that I borrowed from my friend, and I only read half of it. So being able to reread it now after, actually finishing Power of Three and knowing what the heck is going on, that's really great for me. And also the fact that now I like novellas for some reason. I don't know why. I'm in a novella phase, okay? Jeez. Yeah, so I was really excited to read this one, and it turned out to be really great. So no spoiler warning for the next 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to be doing a brief review and summary, but after that point, I will let you know when I am going to be going into spoiler territory. So that's just a heads up for later on in the video. And yeah, with all that said and done, let's get started. Wait. I forgot to mention something. You see this? You see this? You might have noticed this. Well, this is Mini Minou. She has evolved. She has become 3D. She is no longer a 2D moon creature thing. She is now a lovely cat. She'll be spectating all the episodes from now on and, just chilling, I guess. She's pretty cool. I like her a lot. She's awesome. Hi. Alright, back into the video. I really love this one. I'm gonna give it a review first. So I'd give this I give it a 10 out of 10. Like, I really can't think about anything that was wrong with this book series. It was all really not with this book series, but with I can't think of anything wrong with this novella. It's just it was so perfect that it makes me surprised that this was even a Warriors book, because it was just so good. It was so good. I mean, it wasn't the most adventureful thing, and yeah, in the beginning it was a little bit weird traveling back and forth between her memory and what's actually happening. There was a little bit of whiplash there, but that is such a minor thing for a Warriors book. Usually it's something big. There literally is nothing wrong with this. Like, I don't know how I can make a really interesting rant video about it, because there's not much to rant about. It was very, very good. 10 out of 10. One of the very few novellas or series books or main series books or super editions or anything that can ever get a 10 out of 10 for me. So that's saying a lot, okay? If you're wondering whether to buy this or not, buy it, get it. This is out of all the novellas that exist, I think this one and maybe the one with Tiger Claw's Fury in it, those are the ones you should buy the most. And I also really like the one with, the one with Goosefeather and Ravenpaw's Farewell. Those three novella collections, just fabulous. And Leaf Pool's Wish was pretty mediocre, to be honest with you. But Tiger Claw's Fury, and I'm not finished with it, but maybe Doubling Silence, I'm pretty sure they make up for it. And Leaf Pool's Wish isn't hard to read. It's not that bad. It's not like an awful fan fiction, but it's not a spectacular Warriors book, So those are the three novella collections that I recommend the most. And now I'll tell you why I really love Hollyleaf's story. Basically, what Hollyleaf's story is she goes into the tunnel. If you're not familiar with Power of Three, I'm not going to go into why. She goes into tunnel. She gets smushed. But she's not smushed, in fact. She is only just a tiny bit smushed. Even she, for a moment, thought she was dead. And everyone outside thinks she's dead. But no, she is only slightly smushed. And it turns out that she was able to get out, and there turns out to be another cat inside the tunnels who may or may not be already dead. And he helps her, like her leg is all hurt and stuff. He helps her heal and also brings her food while she's healing, and just generally gives her company for a long time. And yeah, she thinks about going outside sometimes, and it's just a really interesting story. Not only because we really get to focus on one relationship, which doesn't happen often, because you usually have like 45 or even I don't even know how many ThunderClan cats are alive now. Like I need to count them as of broken code, but last I checked, in Vision of Shadows, there were 45 modern ThunderClan cats, all competing for attention. Here, it's just Hollyleaf and the maybe dead guy. um, so we really get to zoom in and focus on that relationship, and I really, really love it. You can technically count the fox as a character, but less so because it can't have dialogue. So it's kind of like not sort of. I don't know. It's in a weird spot because I wouldn't consider it a character, but it technically is one. I don't know. I really liked that, and I also really loved how, I guess it's weird being in a tunnel. Like, yeah, we've had tunnel scenes before in Warriors, but she's long term in there. I'm kind of surprised she didn't go absolutely insane. It kind of like healed her insanity. It gave her time to reflect. And it was really interesting because it was just her and her thoughts, and then maybe sometimes Fallen Leaves. And then just the darkness all around her. It was very, very cool. And there was none of the problems with my precious being repeated like 8 million times like it was with a Cloudstar's Journey. And there's not even any of those little minor problems that sprouted up in Cloudstar's Journey. It was just really good. I really can't think of anything awful about it. There are a few things that I'll nitpick at, but they should not stop you from buying this book. They're far from it. It's just something I want to rant about. It's not something that should stop you from reading it. Anyhow, so let's get deeper into spoiler territory. I'm going to go more into depth about what happened. I'm going to talk about Power of Three a little bit because Hollyleaf's story is directly linked to Power of Three and partially to Omen of the Stars. So keep that in mind before you buy it. It is indeed linked to those series. Cloudstar's Journey as well. It's like separate, so that's fine. But with this one, you have to have read Power of Three to understand who these characters are and what happened, I guess. So keep that in mind. Now we're seriously, definitely entering spoiler territory. So heads up for that. All right. So basically, Hollyleaf is running into the tunnels. We all know what happened, and smush. So Fallen Leaves and Hollyleaf, I really, really like what goes on, and I like how Fallen Leaves is able to be jealous and to have like think negative things about his friends sometimes because with most friend characters it's all just like, oh yeah, I support you and yeah, that's cool, but like at the same time I want them to be able to get into little disagreements and to get into strange places and feel more real, I guess, because with Fallen Leaves, they were really good friends and it was very obvious. Like, they did patrols together and they laughed together and they did lots of things together. Like, they only had each other. And Fallen Leaves very clearly was very attached to Hollyleaf because she was the first cat who'd been down there long term since he died like a million years ago. So they had a really great relationship. They did a lot of cool things together, but at the same time, when Hollyleaf was going out to ThunderClan or peeking out into the outside world, he was able, like, they allowed him, the Iron Hunters, they allowed him to feel a negative emotion about that, I guess. Like, friends don't get into scuffles very often. Yeah, Firestar and Greystrike did, and that's what I really like about them, is that they did get into scuffles sometimes, even though they were really great friends. In almost every friendship you'll encounter, there's going to be some points of disagreement and some little arguments that spring up here and there, or something that makes the other friend jealous, or whatever, or makes them sad or feel left out. It's not just, oh, you're my best friend, and like, I'm gonna help you with this and 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 this. It's more like you're great friends, you do lots of cool things together, but then every once in a while, one of the friends might feel a negative way towards the other one. It's too perfect, I guess. It's too unrealistic to just have every friend character just being the greatest person imaginable in almost an impossible way, right? Like, because everyone feels emotion, everyone gets jealous or feels bad sometimes. Most of the time, friend characters just don't, and that's not realistic. That is very fake feeling. Fallen Leaves, nah. It feels really good, Hollyleaf and Fallen Leaf's friendship. I don't ship them, But I can see why some people do. They really have a really great thing going on there. They're really great friends, and I'm really sad that Hollyleaf never got to see him again. I guess at the end, though, in Omen of the Stars, at the end, Last Hope, he was out of the tunnels, wasn't he? I feel like I remember that. He was out of the tunnels. He was in the battle, I think, with Rock. Rock was there, right? Am I just crazy? I don't know. But he was out of the tunnel, so maybe he joined. They're together in StarClan, like as friends. I hope so, because it would just make me so sad if they just never saw each other again. That would be awful, because I just really love these two. I can't emphasize it enough. Another thing that I really liked was the fox. I really liked the fox and how scared she was at first, and then how like they totally got along. Was so devastated when the fox didn't recognize her, out in the woods and whatever. I was so sad. Oh no, it was awful. It was so bad. I was just. It wasn't bad in the writing part, but it just made me feel so sad. And Holly felt sad too, and she was just. It was scary, and it was. It just I was so prepared for some cool reunion of the fox and the cat. I would have loved that just as much as I loved this. I loved this in the sense that, like, I loved, I don't know, Yellowfang's death or Greywing's death, in the sense that it was a very, very good moment, and I'm really glad I read it, but it just made me so sad. This is one of those moments, where it was really great, and I'm not sorry I read it, but it just made me so sad. I was so disappointed. I was so ready for just the reunion. It would have been so nice, but no. Nope, it's a fox, and he didn't remember. But then again, the fact that Hollyleaf could recognize the fox is pretty spectacular, because to most animals, especially with foxes, most foxes, either they have one pattern or another. There's not very many fox patterns or fox head shapes to differentiate themselves from each other, right? Cats, they have a lot of different breeds. They have a lot of different coat colors. That's because of us. Same thing with dogs. But like wild animals, like bears, like black bears. You see one black bear, you see the other black bear, and it's just like, I don't know the difference. And same thing with foxes, unless one's significantly smaller than the other one or something. It's kind of hard to tell, And with bumblebees, you can't tell them apart. And there's a lot of animals where you just can't tell them apart. And the fact that Hollyleaf could recognize the fox is kind of amazing and shows how much like she really likes that fox. But with the fox, he should have been able to recognize Hollyleaf, unless he never saw Hollyleaf because of her dark coat. That he just couldn't see her except for those green eyes, maybe. And for him, he was just like, oh, this is a cat with green eyes, kind of reminds me of Hollyleaf, but I'm not sure if it's Hollyleaf, So I'm just going to eat it because I'm hungry. So that might have been what's going through its head. Like, I can't really blame it. It's starving to death. It wants to eat something. It sees a cat with green eyes. Maybe something goes through its head, like, oh, that another cat that I met had green eyes. But mostly it's like, I'm freaking hungry. I can't really blame it. I can't. So it just made me sad, though. It just made me sad. It's probably realistic, but it made me sad. It just sad. I do really like this book, though. I really do. It was amazing, and I really liked it. Like, just so much. It was great. And I really loved how she kind of longed for a clan, but was like, no, I won't go. Rather than when most cats go, they're just like, oh yeah, I have to go back to my clan, even though I did this and this and this, and even though they think of this and this and this of me. Like, I feel like a lot of cats are just too loyal. Hollyleaf is loyal, but she also kind of has her own thing going on in her mind, and she kind of has her own motivations for going back or not going back. She actually is questioning whether she should go back or not, whereas I feel like pretty much every other cat that would be in that situation wouldn't. And so I really like that. I'm not saying she's disloyal, but I like how she really thinks about it. And I like how she considers herself a loner, even though like she could technically return to her clan and be a warrior again, you know? I like how she's like, oh, I've broke away from the warrior code. I can never be a warrior again. I like how it's really consistent with her previous ideals of the warrior code. She is very well known for being very into the warrior code, and I really like how it kind of sticks with that, and how she feels so ashamed about Ashfur. I still do not understand her reasoning and for killing Ashfur and then announcing it to the entire gathering. I don't think very many people do, and she doesn't even either. She was like, Ashfur died for nothing. Like, that was really stupid of me to just kill Ashfur when I was gonna tell them myself anyway. But she acknowledges that that's weird, and she thinks about that stuff. And, you know, unlike Tiger Claw's Fury, where he doesn't really think into the past that much, Hollyleaf's story, she's really thinking. She be thinking. Maybe it's just because she is in a tunnel, and she doesn't really have much stuff to do there. She has lots of time to reflect, whereas Tiger Claw, he was on a big mission. But I don't know. I just really like this one more than Tiger Claw's Fury, but like barely. They're kind of at the same level for me. I liked both of them a lot. But yeah, I really have no serious complaints, except I personally don't understand how the tunnels work, and I'm really sad the fox died, not died, but like wasn't friendly afterwards. But that's not really a complaint. That's just aspects of the story that are good. So there's, I'm kind of like everything I say is a plus, even though I'm trying to find negatives, right? It's really difficult to find negatives with this. So yeah, there's Hollyleaf story. I'm gonna stop talking now because otherwise it's just gonna go on for hours. I could talk about Hollyleaf story in loops for an entire day, like straight. Like it was so good. It was so good. And I bet if I'd read it just like 10 minutes ago, if I read it again, I know that I'm gonna notice some things that I'm gonna want to mention and wish that I'd mentioned now. Like, I know I'm going to notice things later that I'm like, oh, you know, because I just reread Into the Wild, and for some reason it never clicked in me that Tiger Claw was trying to kill Ravenclaw, oh, sorry, Ravenpaw this entire time, right? He sent him to Snake Walks, he sent him to Clan territory to hunt by himself, he just put him in every dangerous situation he possibly could. He asked him to cross the Thunder Path first, so he was kind of like putting his apprentice into dangerous situations so he wouldn't have to murder him, because then he'd be like, oh, I'm so sad my apprentice died, even though he kind of purposefully did it. It would be very easy to make up, you know? The point is that I never noticed that. I was just like, oh, Ravenpaw's just I just didn't notice it. I was just like, oh, everyday apprentice things. I wasn't really paying attention. But then I reread it again a long time later. Oh, that was a clap. That I didn't mean to clap. I read it a long time later, and then I noticed that, right? So I might notice things again with Hollyleaf stories since this is the first time I'm reading it all the way through. But for now, I'm really happy with its review. I'm really happy with Hollyleaf story as a book, and I'm really happy that I read it, and I'm really happy with Mini Minou on the shelf. Alright, so if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and a comment and subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!